Hey, Nerd Herd, Dynasty Nerds here, back again with a big week upon us, week 1 of the NFL season, so there's no better way to kick it off with some really bold predictions.
Did I get bold?
Finally? This guy's got a favorite Williams.
Ready, set, hut, hut. Welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast, where we discuss Dynasty strategy, rankings, and all things NFL. So get ready to geek out on fantasy football with your host, Rich Dotson.
And welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Rich Dotson, here with my fellow nerds, Matt O'Hara.
Hey.
Garret Price.
How's it going?
And Jared Wackerly producing.
Hello.
It's a big week. Football is back. We made it. The 2022 season is upon us. This is it. It counts. It's for real. Every reception, every rushing yard, every passing yard. And if you still got defenses, those can play too, I guess. Maybe even a couple kickers. Scott Fishbowl, kickers.
Yes.
Extra
absolutely.
points. Get them in. So it's back. This is all the work that we've been talking about, all that we've been preparing for in the offseason. There is no offseason Dynasty, but our offseason work where the season isn't happening is finally going to culminate to this.
Yes, it is.
Are you ready?
I can barely talk. I'm so ready.
Matt's very conflicted because simultaneously with one of the greatest weeks of the year, it's combined with one of his least favorite shows of the year altogether.
All together. Mash it together like a sandwich. It's like peanut butter and something disgusting.
Why? Because it's our bold prediction show. That's right.
That's right.
Where we're going to give you a lot of bold predictions where we are hoping 5% come true.
Rich and I come in talking about these exorbitant numbers of predictions we have, and Matt's like, I could barely come up with 6.
And my brain doesn't work like this.
I actually tried to this year tail mine in just a little bit to make them more
Slightly more realistic.
Yeah. Because I mean, for the last couple of years,
So did you reel them in or rein them in, or did you tail them in? Did you like wrap a tail around them and pull them in? How did that work?
I told myself to be more realistic.
Okay, so you reined it in. All right.
I was like, your hit rate on these bold predictions have been pretty off, and I was like, I was having that Gollum talk where I'm talking to myself, like my precious predictions. And I was like, why don't you make them a little bit more obtainable? What do you mean? Not like Baker Mayfield QB1 overall? Exactly. That's exactly what I mean. Make it a little bit more attainable.
Look at you
So where do you want to
Lord
put
of the
Baker
Rings.
Mayfield? Oh, I'll tell you here in the next couple minutes.
Gosh, go get him, Gollum. Look at you, Lord of the Ring in it, man.
Yeah, so we're here. We're going to talk about it before we get into the regular season, and we digest this regular season into Dynasty format and how we can, help transform our Dynasty teams that are contenders to make sure they can get to the championship, or teams that are rebuilding, or what do we call it last year?
Reloading?
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 Is that what it was?
Did we call them that last year? I feel like that's a pretty commonly used
Reloading. All I remember is Dynasty Summer. That's all I remember.
Boy, Dynasty Summer. But no matter where you are in your Dynasty League, we're going to help you get over to wherever you want to be, right? We're going to help you along that rainbow.
Okie doke.
Okay.
Yeah.
But before we do that, I got to tell about our friends at PrizePicks. Before the season started, I had to get my week 1 PrizePicks bets in here. What is PrizePicks before we even get into that? PrizePicks is a player where you put some
There's too many P's in there.
P's.
It's not a player. It's an app.
Rich just exploded.
PrizePicks players, platypuses.
It's week
They're
1.
everywhere. We
needed a preseason 2, folks.
It's the number 1 legal way to make player props. And what's fun is I brought me and my brother-in-law were together this week in New York, and I was showing him, and he's like, I got to get this app. These prop bets are too easy. This is easy money. I'm like, exactly, friend. I'm about to be so rich. So you pick 2 to 5 players. You pick the over, under, and projections. You go up to 10 times your entry because they give you an option there. You can max it out for like 10 times your entry, or you can just say, hey, I want to win 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 5 for like 3 or 4 times my money. I went all the way to the wall. That's what I always do. So
Shocking.
what do? You get down there, any sport you want. Once I told my brother-in-law you could bet golf on this as well with the NFL, he went insane. He's like, you mean I could take golfers and NFL players and make prop bets in one bet? I'm like, you absolutely can. You want to get a little baseball action? He's like, I do not, but maybe I do. Let me see what the Mariners going on with my guy, J-Rod. And I'm like, okay, buddy, get on there. So he's over there mixing and matching sports. I'm just looking at my NFL guys.
Tell them about Tom Brady this week.
Oh, and they have Tom Brady. So we go on there, and they have Tom Brady's a free pick. His over-under prop bet is 0.5 passing yards. So I'm like,
Wait, what?
It's a free. They're
bet.
calling it. It's a free square. So you get a free.
As long as he plays.
Bum.
watch it's a free square.
Is
It
the
loses.
divorce
Everyone loses.
So here's
Breaks his leg on the first play.
I'll give you three props that I gave on here. One for the season long I made this past weekend. I took Joe Mixon. I did a four pick play, $20 to win 200. Joe Mixon. Oh, I took more. The over on 1,050.5 rushing yards.
1,050 for the year.
Easy. For the year.
Okay. All right.
I took Zeke Elliott over 875.5 rushing. I took Jamar Chase over 1,250.5 yards.
Ooh.
A little risque, but
That one's risky.
I'm a believer. And then I took DJ Moore over 1,075.5 yards.
Consistency tells us that he will do that, even if it's only by 25 yards.
And then for week one, I did, I'll give you one of my Tom Brady here as my free play. 3 picks. So 3 picks, $20 to win $100, right? Shouldn't be too hard. First bet, Tom Brady over 0.5 passing yards. I'm already halfway into the money. I'm a third of the way there.
That's where you're at.
Halfway, a third of the way.
That's where you're at. Not the
And I
other way.
took
Pretty halfway there.
I took Stephon Diggs over 66.5 receiving yards on Thursday, and I took Cam Akers over 58.5 rushing and receiving yards combined.
Combined.
This
Totally.
is already a banner show.
It's a little risque, but I took it. And I also took a 2-teamer and a 5-pick play.
We're already halfway home. It's fine.
We're already halfway home. We're
like
podcast
it.
half over.
I like it.
You know, right now, get the PrizePicks. Use the promo code NERDS. I know it was either in Missouri or Kansas. They just opened up legalized betting, so you might
Kansas.
PrizePicks might be there. Kansas, yeah, it was Kansas.
Yep.
Check it out there as well. Get in there. I live in Ohio. It's not going to be legal here until January 1st, but guess what? I go to New York sometimes, and it's legal there, and it's fantastic. And I use the promo code NERDS, and I doubled my money. So I put in $100. My account had $200. After this weekend, I'm probably going to have like $600. Who knows? I mean, I'm going to be rolling my Bentley in my driveway up here soon. That's all I got to do. PrizePicks, download the app, put in the promo code NERDS. On the bottom of the show sheet, we do have a little Google Sheet page. If you put in the email address that you use to sign up, and you use the promo code NERDS, we will cross-check that, and we will send you a Dynasty Nerds shirt. Fill that Google Sheet out, put your size in, your address in. If there's a team, put a couple of your favorite teams, and we have that color, we will send that color. All that for just win some cash. PrizePicks, check them out.
That T-shirt promo is ending
Soon.
this week, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was like it's once the season started.
When
that
Rich
one-
says.
Okay.
Soon. So like this week, I think, is when it is. So check it out.
Last chance.
But even when the shirt ends, you still got all these props to get on there and win some cash.
Absolutely.
Like I said, my brother-in-law was like, dude, some of these props are like pretty crazy. I'm like, no, there's got to be something up until we're rich.
Rich, bitch.
So that's it. Check them out. PrizePick promo code NERDS. And don't forget, of course, about the Dynasty Nerds promo we're running with the promo code FOOTBALL. Get on there, use that promo code FOOTBALL, save 50% off all our tools. 15%, whether it be the Dynasty GM, whether it be all the tools we have on the site as well, like the Dynasty Nerds Film Room. We'll be having a ton of all 22 film on that film room to help you get for this 23 class. And this 23 class is only getting better because if you watched Anthony Richardson play quarterback this past weekend for Florida,
He was like Houdini out there.
wow.
Jared's all
but
in.
throwing passes.
Dude,
also.
special, man.
Jared's made like 18 trades trying to acquire him already.
I'm all in.
Yes.
He looked
good.
unbelievable.
You gotta make moves quick. You gotta take the risk. And
Yeah,
Risky
if you
for the
don't
biscuit.
overreact in Dynasty, then you're just, somebody
you're
else will.
underreacting.
Yeah, well, somebody else will, and then look. Okay, what's an overpay today is underpay tomorrow. It's what I've been saying forever. You have to make moves like that to be to get these players in Dynasty. And to me, he looked good enough to be the 1-1 in a Superflex startup last week.
Could be.
So
We shall see.
now, are you guys ready
Yes.
for the 2022 bold predictions?
Excuse me. I have to go to the bathroom. I'll be back.
There's a reason Matt wasn't on the show this.
BP still sells gas, right?
Yes, I think so.
This is our BP show.
There you go.
All gas. Oh, sorry, Ray. So who wants to kick us off? I have
Matt.
I have 18
Matt
of them.
wants to.
Now this will carry over to the Nerd Herd show as well, just because we have so many. Well, I have so many of them. And we have to break
I
some
have
of these
quite a
down.
few as well. Although we might have some overlap. We'll see.
We can't let Matt break this started off. He'll
I
run
know.
out of questions, guys, first. Let me go off. Here, I'll go first.
I'll just sprinkle mine in when it's relevant. How about that? You guys
Periodically.
ping pong back and forth. I'll throw one in every
Matt,
once
I
in a
want
while.
you to tell us how spicy ours are.
I will.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah, no, I will.
All right, here's my first one, right?
All right.
No New England player on the roster finishes in the top 24 at their position.
None.
Outside of tight end, because it's not fair because they have too many tight
So the
ends.
What about
quarterback
Mac Jones?
is not even
Nope.
going to finish out.
That is bold. And it's
Quarterback
completely
25.
contradicting one of my hot takes. So this is going to be great.
I mean,
There's
listen,
a path for Damian Harris. There's a path for Mac Jones. And I went to start off saying, hey, no wide receiver finished in the top 24, but that was not bold enough.
That's actually, it would be bold to say one did finish as a top 24.
It actually would.
I started there. I was like, can I get Devontae Parker in my top 24? I was like, nope.
Once they bring Laquan Treadwell up from the practice squad, could he finish?
Did they sign him to the practice squad?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I mean, Devontae Parker's got that 1-inch wingspan. He's going to be like
Yep.
Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Throw me the ball.
Throw
The
me the
YMCA
ball.
out there.
But then they got a defensive coordinator calling plays, and who knows what that's going to look like.
I mean, do any of us see a receiver finish in the top 24?
No.
Jacoby Myers.
No chance.
Devontae Parker.
No.
Obviously, the tight end is very reasonable
Listen,
with Hunter Henry.
I do think they're going to spread it around. I think Hunter Henry's the guy that's going to probably break your whole thing.
That's what I said. No tight end, Matt. No tight end.
Oh, okay. No tight end.
No tight end.
I didn't write that down, but yeah, no tight end.
But I'm saying he's saying it now.
He's saying it now because it
Say it
makes
now.
too much
Yeah.
sense. All right.
Bold change.
Bold change. He just rolled out some change.
Take those dimes.
And you know, Ramondre, I think, is the only guy that could do it if he got the every down like kind of role, and he's also doing the pass catching type of stuff as well. Because I what we saw out of Pierre in the preseason wasn't something that he's going to establish any sort of role. So it's Ramondre doing the pass catching
Ty
stuff.
Montgomery possibly doing all the pass catching stuff.
Ty Montgomery's already injured. He's on the
He's
shelf. He's
already hurt. So that leads to mine, though. I have one of my bold predictions, Rich, is Ramondre Stevenson finishes as an RB1.
One.
Oof.
An RB1.
Wow.
Now, we've seen this. We've seen this happen over the years. And even Damian Harris finished as what? Running back 13 last year, if I remember correctly.
I can look for you.
He finished as running back 13 last year, if I'm remembering correctly. So we've seen the running back recently in their backfield do it. We are all signs are pointing to.
He wasn't running back one last year.
Huh?
He wasn't running back one last year.
Damian Harris, he was 13. He was right there.
That's not a running back one.
We're not doing this
So we
again.
haven't
We're
seen him
not
do it.
doing this
We
again.
haven't seen him do it.
This
Thanks
is
to-
this is Joe Mixon all over again.
Crazy touchdown efficiency.
And that's going to be part of it. Ramondre Stevenson, everything's been pointing this offseason to they like him more. They want to get him more involved. They want to use him in the passing game. So if you combine what we've seen out of guys like James White, how often he gets the ball, I don't expect it to be that much, but I do expect Ramondre to be the main receiving back. And if he gets what his size would dictate, a good chunk of the goal line carries, he could do it off of no yardage, just receptions and touchdowns. He could get into RB1 range.
Matt, bold prediction just inserted. Damian Harris will outscore Ramondre Stevenson.
Wow.
That's
Wow, what a
consensus.
bold-
That's not even bold.
What a bold prediction.
Wow.
BP all gas. Vroom, vroom.
That's a Matt prediction.
Exactly. That's why he pointed at me, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Must be.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I can see. I mean, obviously, you can see it. There's a
Sure.
I mean, but running back one, I mean, it's really bold. Like, if he
It's
finishes
bold.
a top
It's
24,
one of my bolder takes.
if you said top 18, I'm like, okay, that's a path there. But running back one, I don't see it whatsoever.
I could see it.
Okay,
I see it.
It's pretty bold of you. So,
I started off hot, but you kind of forced my hand. But with the Patriots thing,
not a problem. Not a problem. I understand it. We're talking Patriots. I tried to
Flowed.
go look at some teams here and see what's going on. Matt, you got a not so bold prediction for us?
here's this one. Anything's going to sound vanilla after that. You should not have followed that.
No. Khalil Herbert, not David Montgomery, will lead the Bears in touches and fantasy points.
Hey,
this
Matt,
season.
that's bold.
I like that one.
Matt, that's bold.
Someone just pop a cork or something?
That was me punching the table.
Oh,
Yeah,
geez.
popping corks, son.
Boom.
Popping bottles.
So what do y'all think about
Keep
that
talking.
one?
Me popping dorks.
There you go, Matt. That is a bold prediction right there. And it's like if 5 is average hotness, that's probably like a 6 or a 7. And I know he's been a trendier name this offseason.
Sure.
And, we've heard rumors that Montgomery might even do some stuff on special teams. So there are all those rumors. But he is still the incumbent. He's performed well. So I think most people would assume that if there was somebody that was going to be in the top 24 land, it would be David Montgomery. So to assume that somebody's going to outtouch him in Khalil Herbert, I think that's pretty bold.
I'm on the right side of 5 with that one.
That was
'Cause
good.
I'm usually like a 2.5.
Right.
Lukewarmish.
No, I'm really proud of you.
Yeah. So
I'm really proud of you.
Do you think it's going to be mostly in receptions?
Well, I did say touches and fantasy points, but I do think that would lean more towards him being a pass catching type of guy that also operates between the tackles some, because I think he's good in both respects. And there's been talk about David Montgomery not being maybe a scheme fit for this new scheme as much as Khalil Herbert is. So there's rumblings of that kind of stuff in the background, and I just thought maybe this could be the time when a guy this has got to be David Montgomery's close to the end of his tender there, right?
It's the end of his contract.
Yeah, the end of his contract. So, I mean, they might be trying out a new guy. Khalil Herbert, was a 5th round or 6th round draft pick last year.
Mm-hmm. And scheme who
performed well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. I mean, being in the right system, the right scheme is everything for just NFL production atop of fantasy football production. I mean, we've said it 1,000 times in the show. Like, is Alvin Kamara the best running back in the league? No, but he fits that scheme and system perfectly in what he does, those kind of running backs.
And all these new regimes always want their guy. Now, they didn't necessarily draft Herbert, but it would be their guy kind of move to elevate him as the starter over David Montgomery, who was, the past regime's guy. So it's in the realm of possibility, but it's pretty spicy.
But definitely, if they want to do like Matt said, if they want to see what they have in Khalil Herbert, right? If they want to see, hey, David Montgomery's going to walk, we're not going to re-sign him. For sure. This running back class is too deep next year. We're for sure going to get a guy in the 2nd or 3rd round. Or even possibly, hey, they want to add B.J. Robinson to go with Justin Fields for that offense to really spice it up a little bit, which is a possibility. Then you could imagine them giving Khalil Herbert, as the season progresses, as the team starts to slowly find their way, sliding away from the playoffs, a little bit more action to see what they have in him. So that definitely I see the path for that.
Okay. Don't come back to me again because that was my best one.
All right. My next bold prediction is
going out George Costanza style. Going out on a high note.
We'll go 2-1. We'll go 2-1 here. My next bold prediction is Michael Carter of the New York Jets, running back, finishes within 25 fantasy points of Breece Hall. This is somebody where I see a little bit Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams-esque kind of last year. Mm-hmm. I think Michael Carter played too well last year, definitely at the end of last year, definitely his yards after contact, breaking tackles. He's got a ton of experience sharing carries, right, coming out of NC with Javonte Williams. So he knows how to play that number 2 role to perfection. So I could see him getting right around 130, 140 carries. See him still be involved in those 3rd down, his pass protection because he's involved with that team, which put him in position to catch anywhere from 30 to 45 footballs as well. So I think this is something that can come in. I mean, we saw him last year come in, have 36 receptions, and he played in 14 games last year. Mm-hmm. So there's a path for him there to still be a fantasy relevant flex player. If Hall goes down, a running back 1 potentially.
Sure.
But as much as I love Breece Hall, and I do think there's a path for him to be an absolute stud for a long time, I feel like this season we're going to do a little bit more of the Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon kind of taste flow, and that those two will be within 25 points of their fantasy football season. And I had to look up Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon last year, and they were within 20 points of each other. Okay. So I want to go a little bit more of a stretch because I think Breece is a little bit better than Javonte Williams. So I just want to go ahead and go put that out there.
I think Garrett agrees with that.
I do not agree.
What?
Did you have him graded higher?
I had Javonte graded higher. Wow. Yeah.
What do you guys? What do you guys?
I think they were literally a spot apart. Like I think in my all-time rankings, I think Javonte was my 3rd highest score, and then I think it goes Dobbins, Swift, Javonte, Breece.
Okay.
What do you guys make of the subpar showing so far from Breece Hall in the preseason? Just running behind a shaky 2nd and 3rd team offensive line for most of the preseason, or is it just an adjustment issue? We saw similar things from Jonathan Taylor, his rookie season, where he wasn't popping, and then all of a sudden he kind of figured it out.
Came up last night.
Yeah, it's funny. This was almost exactly word for word what you're saying, what we talked about last night in the Discord AMA, and the 3 of us kind of decided like we're not really that worried.
Yeah, okay.
It's preseason. Coaches are trying different things. They're trying unique styles and seeing what works and what doesn't. And there was enough on tape for me to say like it would take a long time for me to really be worried. Because I mean, Jonathan Taylor, we were going into week 6, 7, 8, where it was still like this doesn't look very good.
No,
and then all of a sudden,
it popped.
he figured it out. Things slowed down for him, and then he took off.
I knew you guys talked about it. I popped onto that AMA last night under a fake name.
Oh,
You're so funny.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I would love it if you had actually done that.
The same thing with like even Jamar Chase, right? Like Jamar Chase had a rough preseason last year. Was actually dropping some footballs. People were like, "Oh wow, is this going to be a thing?" You know, or like maybe. And then like you mentioned Jonathan Taylor.
Mahomes had a rough start in his
trust the process.
Trust the tape.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It goes back when I buy players. Like, why are you buying this player now? I'm like, well, the tape was so good. It's why I was buying so much Clyde Edwards-Helaire this offseason. People are like, why are you doing this? He's toast. He's burnt. I'm like, he's 23 years old, 24 years old. Like, he's just burnt. Like, I still have the college tape that I can go off of. Like, he has no major injuries. Or like, he's not Sammy Watkins, right? He didn't hurt his foot and can never be that guy again. So, what do you think? Do you think Michael Carter could be within 25 points of Breece Hall, or do you think it will be the Breece Hall show for sure?
If you had said this through the first 10 weeks, I would have said not only was it, I could see it, I would say it was even likely. I think what makes this into the hot take realm is I really think over that second half or the last third of the season, we're going to really see Breece Hall, like we do a lot of rookie running backs where they start off more of a timeshare, and then as the season grows, their role increases and grows. So I think that's what will happen with Breece Hall. So I think that this is a little bit spicy, but I don't think it's crazy. I think that's in the realm of possibility.
I think what's going to happen here is, again, I go back to that Denver situation because I think it's pretty comparable, is where Melvin Gordon played well enough that Javonte wasn't let off the leash because Melvin played good enough. I think Michael Carter will play good enough not to fully let Breece Hall off the leash is the way I look at it. Even though Breece Hall deserved, just like Javonte, he deserved all. I mean, if you look at Michael Carter and Javonte Williams last year, like a lot of things they did statistically wise, they were pretty close statistically wise. It's just that Melvin wouldn't off the leash. I think that's going to be the same. I'm being redundant right now. So I think it's the same aspect there. I think Michael Carter would just do just enough there and still kind of dig into Breece Hall's fantasy production. And I think they'll both be more like flex plays or bye-week fillers than every week starters for your fantasy football team. Running back twos potentially, though. Melvin Gordon was running back two last year, and so was Javonte.
That's right.
So
absolutely.
There's definitely potential there to still be successful.
All right,
Garrett,
on to me.
Get all bold with me.
I already showed it. But I just want to make sure.
Oh yeah,
That's a fine looking sweater.
What does that say? What does that say in the cursive?
Javonte.
Favorite.
Dude, you did a really good job carving that in your chest hair.
Yeah, well, I'm an artist. No, this was actually
it does say Javonte. I thought it said favorite.
Favorite Williams.
ITE. It could say favorite.
I have other Williams that I like less than this Williams.
He's my favorite Williams.
That's like a 90s sitcom just waiting to happen.
Jameson.
Shout out to
Javonte.
JWAC actually with hooking me up with this this beautiful
I got you, bro.
piece right here. But I thought fitting because normally I wear the nerd shirt on the show when we're here, and I went rogue and I wore this tonight partly because it's week one and I'm excited to watch Javonte play.
Pretty bold of you.
But secondly, because one of my bold predictions, hot takes, whatever you want to call it. Javonte Williams finishes as a top 6 running back this season.
Ooh.
Now, the only thing that I think could keep him from this is just the total touches. Because I think as far as a pure running back, I think he has the ability, and I think he's in the right offense to easily do this. If Melvin Gordon wasn't part of the equation, this wouldn't be hot at all. It would be consensus. He would be running back 3, 4, 5 probably in most people's rankings. But Melvin Gordon came in, ruined things, and pushed him down to, I think last time I checked, he was consensus running back 13 coming into the season. So not even a running back 1 by consensus. I think his ability is going to slowly supersede that of Melvin Gordon. Even Melvin Gordon said this offseason they want Javonte to be the guy.
Yep.
If he was such a big part of their plans, I think they would have prioritized him more in free agency. They didn't. He did end up signing there, but it was month and a half after free agency began.
It was a go see if you have a market type of thing. Come back, we're interested in having you.
And there's just another year of wear and tear on his tires. He's not been the most consistently healthy guy. He's missed time every season. Never huge, but it's always 3 games here, 2 games there. So I think there'll be enough there where Javonte Williams gets to a top 6 running back.
You could definitely take out Javonte Williams there and just insert this name Nick Chubb and say the same exact sentence, like, oh, then you have Kareem Hunt coming here.
Wait, what?
Kareem
Hunt.
Jeez.
Kareem Hunt. Ruin everything for the children with his name over there. Be a little bit more respectful, Mr. Hunt. And I heard Melvin from Benjamin Albright, the Broncos insider, said that Melvin Gordon took a little while to sign because he actually had other offers on the table for a little bit more money. And he said, I want to win a championship. You can't repeat that. This is a children-friendly show.
It is not.
And the way you say it, you say his name is Cream, too.
Well, the problem, creamy Hunt, out there messing with my Nick Chubb shares. Share, singular. I just got one. Gave a 24 first and second for him.
Krispy Kreme.
Yeah, so, very bold. Creamy Chunk.
Wait, what was your bold prediction?
It doesn't matter. Move on to the next one.
I'm talking about his Javonte Williams. Top 6 is pretty bold. I just don't see it.
This is bold predictions. I'm not coming in here with these lukewarm takes.
Yeah,
Rich.
I'm going to need a minute.
Here, can I introduce you in some hot, creamy chunt?
What words
What?
are you saying?
All kinds of words, Garrett. Got a mouthful of saliva, words to spit, and mispronunciate.
All right. Dude.
Everybody
You want to go? Or do you want me to go?
Javonte.
You guys need a break?
No,
Oh, you want to talk about Javonte?
Yeah,
You
I'll-
got to give your opinion on Javonte.
He's a big Javonte fan as well. Not wearing the sweater, but he is a big Javonte fan.
I am a big Javonte
Well,
fan.
literally, you know, he's got a tattooed across his chest.
It says favorite, though.
It's his favorite Williams.
Favorite Williams. His uncle Leroy Williams is so mad at him, too. They got it.
Listen, Javonte Williams, I think, has all the talent in the world to be a top 6 back. I don't see it happening with Melvin Gordon there. If Melvin Gordon, for whatever reason, gets injured, anything like that, yes, slam dunk. I do feel like I'm probably a little bit closer with my expectation to consensus 12, 13. I think that's more realistic for Javonte Williams. So hot take, you're at a 7 for me. 7 or 7.5, maybe.
Nice.
Insert
Pretty hot. Yeah.
Insert new bold prediction. Insert number 2. Are you ready?
You're starting
Yes.
to scare me.
Yes.
You started with insert, and I was like, where's he going?
You never know.
Let me de-insert the saliva out of my mouth.
Deans.
Melvin Gordon finishes as a running back 2.
I think he's like one spot off of that on consensus.
Right.
So.
Okay.
About a 2.
Bold.
1.5.
It's a
Bold.
cold
Bold, lowercase letters.
If you would have said top 18, I think that would make it bold.
No, I don't believe in that.
Okay.
I think he'd be like running back 23.
All right.
Around there.
I'm gonna
spots above
bring us
consensus.
back to earth here. Kyle Phillips will outperform fellow rookie Treylon Burks from a fantasy perspective in 2022.
Holy shnikes.
Who is this man and what did he do with Matt?
I don't know, but Jared just
excited.
went from 6 to midnight.
I'm
Yes.
happy.
You hear that thud on our
I'm not
table?
going to stand up right now.
Get out the duct tape.
Get it out.
Teacher, don't call on me.
Get it out.
I have a Treylon Burks bold take. I'll save it, though.
Matt, I'm shooketh.
Shaketh no more.
Wow.
Let's hear what you have to say.
So obviously you're basing this
Yeah,
off
he's the Burks
of,
guy. Go ahead.
You're basing this off of just total amount of, you think he's going to be just smothered in receptions.
Yeah, no, I like the fit with Kyle Phillips and Ryan Tannehill. I think that's going to be a nice combination where Tannehill is going to feel comfortable throwing to a guy that's quick, in and out of breaks, close to the line of scrimmage, compared to a guy, Treylon Burks, who is going to be more reliant, I think, on downfield type of stuff for fantasy production anyway. So it's going to be Robert Woods. It's going to be Kyle Phillips. It's going to be another guy that I have another bold prediction about. Austin Hooper will reemerge as a fantasy relevant tight end and finish at the low end of a tight end 1.
I actually like that prediction.
I actually don't mind that one either.
No,
That's pretty good.
I had the same thing. I was like, I think Austin Hooper's going to have a rebound year this year, all thanks to Ryan Tannehill and this Tennessee offense.
Yeah.
So
Now-
those are my 2 related ones.
So,
Matt, you just got through half your bold takes. You have to slow down.
I'm going to sit on the sidelines for a while. I'll just interject when Rich goes completely off the rails and brings
he's
us
like,
back.
Tennessee, I love him. Kyle Phillips is only 10 I see.
Exactly.
So, listen, I think Kyle Phillips has a path to be fantasy relevant this year, but not to be the higher scorer than Treylon Burks because, what you said about keeping things close to the line of scrimmage. Like Treylon Burks does that extremely well. So well, it's mostly all they used him with in college in Arkansas. They didn't give him
I don't think it's because he did it well. I think it's because their quarterback couldn't get the ball to him anywhere else.
I don't think that's
fair
where
enough.
I don't think that's where he shined at all. I think that was how they used him. I think that's not his best use, period. Close to the line of scrimmage.
I think Kyle Phillips could make a presence this year, but I do not think he'll be even a top 36 fantasy football wide receiver. He might flirt with it.
In my defense, neither do I.
Okay.
I'm in the same boat. And I was going to say my reasoning has more to do with Burks than it does Phillips.
Ya base.
Okay. I mean, if you want to make that argument, I disagree. I almost said the Broncos wouldn't have a top 24 wide receiver. That was one of my bold takes.
That would be very bold.
It's the only one.
Unless they had like
feel
three that
say.
were like 25, 26, 27 because Judy, Sutton, and like
I was
Hamler or
worried about
something
them all vulturing each other. But
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? That's even too bold for me.
I think, honestly, I think that the Tennessee offense is going to revolve around the running game. It's going to revolve around Austin Hooper. It's going to revolve around Robert Woods. And both of those guys are going to be kind of afterthoughts, but I think Kyle Phillips is just going to be that chain mover that they kind of need.
like a rookie Renfro.
Yep, absolutely. And Burks, they're going to use as like a downfield, field stretching kind of guy that they throw the ball to. And if he makes the catch, great. If he doesn't, he still pulled the defense way down the field, and it's at least a threat of downfield action.
Okay.
I got a complete counter bold take here.
You keep making new ones as we.
No, this one's actually written down.
Oh,
Let
okay.
me interject. This is not a bonus edition of Melvin Gordon or what was my other bonus?
We don't want to talk about your other bonus.
My BBs, my double Bs, my double bonuses. I'll get to it though after Garrett's ad read here. But once he does, I'm gonna come.
What a transition!
I'm gonna jump
criminal
in
over here.
I'm not even gonna jump in feet first. I'm a cannonball in this bitch.
All right. Well, let's talk about our friends over at Prediction Strike. Yes, they are back. We are back with them. And, guys like Kyle Phillips, great guys to look at on Prediction Strike. Guys that are rookies, guys that are not big names yet, but could really emerge. I'm sure a guy like Damian Pierce a couple weeks ago, not that much. Now, all right, Jared.
$3 or $4.
I know this show alone raised Michael Pittman Jr.'s price like $1 or $2.
If you bought Michael Pittman right when we told you to buy him,
Yeah.
you would have made a couple dollars.
We're just
each
over
share.
here inflating our own stocks
That's
and then
right.
we sell them as
That's
soon as the
exactly
show
what it
ends.
is.
Oh, that's a good idea.
No,
Buy all the Kyle Phillips.
I forget what he was at, but he's at 340.
really did
Yeah,
buy
he was at
Bentley.
like 2 something. So yeah, he's risen like $1 since the last time we talked about him. But
But if you bought like $100 worth of shares, you just doubled your money.
exactly, that's huge.
Yeah, I've gained $13 on my shares. I bought like 14 shares last week
I'll say I bought like 8, I think.
It's
So
almost $1 a share.
or a couple weeks ago. I think it was a couple weeks ago when we were here.
Carry the one.
love it. So
Do you love it?
Head over to predictionstrike.com or better yet, just download the app.
Go to the app.
Just go to the app. It's easy. It's nice. It's pretty. Go to the app and use the promo code Dynasty to receive a free share of a player. That's right. Absolutely free. You don't have to pay anything. You get to look at some different players you can get and be like, I think this guy's going to do good. And be like, oh, you don't have to pay anything for that. Like, oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Predictionstrike.com. That's where that's happening. And I just want to mention a little something over here. Sleeper. My favorite Dynasty platform.
New segment.
That's right. New little segment that we're doing. It's our buy or sell of the week, powered by Sleeper. And this week's buy, just real quick, just a little something, little nugget.
Sleeper.
Is
What?
Kenny Pickett.
Kenny Pickett. I totally blanked on his name.
He's like, this is my buy of the week. I'm like,
guy-
I am all in. I have been thinking a lot
looking
about
at
him.
me. I was like,
The guy that just got elevated to number 2.
That's right. No,
On the
Kenny
depth chart.
Pickett is my buy of man. This show is great. My buy of the week is in fact Kenny Pickett, and I always like to try to buy anytime big news breaks on a player I like, but it's not positive. Obviously Mitchell Trubisky has now been named the starter. There are going to be people in certain leagues that are smart that will not sell him. And they're going to hold on to him because they saw what he did in preseason. They saw what he did in college and believe in the talent. Like I do. There's going to be other people that say, he can't beat out Mitch Trubisky. Oh my gosh, this dude's a bum. And they're going to be willing to sell for 75 cents on the dollar. I would capitalize on that and I would go get myself, especially in super flex leagues, on Sleeper, some Kenny Pickett.
Damn it. Mitch Trubisky took the Bears to 2 playoff games, made the Pro Bowl, was in a bad offense, and he's from Menor, Ohio. So I will not hear any slander about Mitch Trubisky.
No Mitch slander, just Kenny praise.
Yeah, we started doing that last year, our buy or sell of the week. And this year, it's being sponsored by our friend Sleeper, the #1 platform right now. And of course, now you can find the Dynasty Nerds podcast on Sleeper, the app. Go right over their podcast, click on the podcast, and the Dynasty Nerds podcast is right there. Bold prediction for Rich. Here we go. Cannonball. Treylon Burks will finish as a top scoring rookie wide receiver in the 2022 season. Everything Matt just said about Kyle Phillips, just insert the name Treylon Burks instead. My case is closed. Thank you for coming to this Rich Talk. I will be here next week breaking down week 1 of the NFL
You called it a Rich Talk.
I don't see it.
Listen, I think, just like Matt said, Ryan Tannehill, the game's going to run off of the short passing game. Keep Derrick Henry, the run game as well, is going to be the main focus of this. I think Austin Hooper does see a resurgence, but I think they're going to, they basically traded A.J. Brown for Treylon Burks. Like, they drafted him to be the face of this franchise at the receiving position. They bring in Robert Woods, who I love Robert Woods too. I think he'll be fantasy football relevant. I think he'll be a top 36 fantasy football receiver. But I think Treylon Burks is in position to be a potential top 24 fantasy football receivers rookie year. I think he is so dynamic with the ball in his hands and can do so much. Basically turn that running back with the ball in his hands. I think they will design plays just like they did Arkansas for him to get the ball in his hands close to the line of scrimmage when needed, and he will make plays afterwards. I think he'll also make plays downfield where he's already shown during his not the preseason
training camp.
Yeah, training camp. It's the NFL season. I forgot what they do beforehand. I'm already locked in.
Doesn't matter.
So
Kenny Pickett, I remember now.
We're only looking forward.
He's a top 15 NFL draft pick to be the #1 receiver in his team. So that's what he's going to come in and do. I thought, with Drake London there, he's probably the easiest choice to pick to be the top fantasy football scoring receiver. But I think they're so bad in Atlanta, I think he's going to have a hard time producing. And he's not the #1 receiver. Kyle Pitts is. So I think Treylon Burks actually has a chance to be the #1 focal point in this offense in the passing game. And Ryan Tannehill has shown us over the last couple of years, he's a very capable quarterback in the NFL, right? He's let's say, argue slightly above average, slightly. Somebody you can actually win with. #1 seed in the AFC. Can't win a Super Bowl with, apparently. But take his team to make him the #1 seed in the AFC. I think Treylon Burks will come in, see the target share required to produce, and then actually do well enough with the ball in his hands to be the top scoring rookie wide receiver in the NFL this year. And I think he has a good chance to be a top 24, low top 24, like right in that range. If anything, a high-end wide receiver 3. I am worried about this whole offense as a whole as a passing game. But again, they've shown us that they can make things happen. If A.J. Brown can do it, Treylon Burks can do it. How about that put that on a t-shirt, Mr. Favorite Williams?
What?
Mr. Favorite Williams.
I think the difference for me and
That's Javonte's new nickname, by the way.
Favorite Williams, for sure.
Javonte, Favorite Williams. Why? Because I can't read cursive.
I think the difference is A.J. Brown came in as one of the more polished receivers that I had seen in a while.
Yep.
Whereas Burks was kind of on the opposite end of that. He was more of one of the more unrefined receivers.
Oh, because he came in chubby?
You said it, not me. And Matt said it too.
I've said it quite a bit.
Cookies.
I don't think that everything is together for him yet. Could we start seeing some flashes of that upside in moments during the season? Absolutely. But I don't know that he's going to be able to put it together consistently over the course of the year. So for me, I know maybe not consensus, but for me, this is a very spicy take. This would be like 7, 8
spicy
for me.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
and
Spice it up to 9.
Spicy.
And for a guy who played basically all the preseason games, basically the entire game, also in order to get more reps and everything like that, to only have 4 catches, 37 yards, and a touchdown against second and third stringers for the most part, it wasn't an overly impressive preseason debut for him either. So I'm not sure how you go from that to not really being able to beat guys and make big plays against second and third stringers that aren't even in the league anymore, to all of a sudden being the guy who is outproducing all of the rookies.
You could say the same thing about Jamar Chase last year, Matthew.
Could you?
I don't know. Could you?
No.
Memory's not that good.
No, you couldn't. So I don't know. It's
sizzling. It's sizzling. It's bold.
It's a bold take by
hot.
you. I just don't. I happen to not agree
Jared,
with it.
I want you
in
to
the
write this
least.
down, put in bold letters,
No.
underline it, and highlight it.
Shut up.
And rub it in these turkeys' faces come Thanksgiving Day. Gobble on that.
Can I interject a bold take?
Yes.
Jamison Williams will come back from a blown out ACL and score more fantasy points than Treylon Burks this year.
Ooh, that's a bold take, Matt.
Burn.
That is
From
bold
that-
because of the injury.
Yep.
From that span of games when he actually comes back? Or
No,
like
He's
season
saying
total?
overall.
Overall. Like he's a farmer with no undershirt on, just overalls. nipples
the overall.
show every time he turns
Whenever he
sideways.
comes back in October till the end of the season.
Who is that really big defensive? Ted Washington, or who was a really big defensive lineman that always wore the overalls?
Adolphus? No.
No.
I think you were right. Ted Washington.
No, it was not Ted Washington.
It wasn't Ted.
He played for
You know who I'm talking about,
I know
though.
exactly what you're talking about. He's
Massive
an all-pro.
dude.
He was an all-pro.
Yeah.
Did he play for the Broncos or the Patriots? He played for the Patriots.
He did pay for the Patriots at one point.
Vince Wilfork?
Vince Wilfork.
Was it Wilfork?
Yeah.
I think it was, yeah.
It might have been Wilfork. You might be right.
Yeah, he wore the overalls all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
All the
Love
time.
it. Love it.
It's a big Vince.
But yeah, that's pretty bold, Matt. Mostly because of the games played. So that means he would have to, make up because he was for sure put on the pup, correct? I'm 95.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was too. So 4 games.
Jared, can you check on that if he was Jameson Williams put on the pup?
He was.
Okay.
I'm
so it's guaranteed 4 games, and then could be another 2,
Sure.
3, 4 after that.
I'm guessing some point in October till the end of the year.
He knows exactly when he's coming back. He's still predicting.
Yep.
I love it.
So who do you think's the number 1 fantasy football rookie this year? Receiver.
I mean, I'd love to say Garrett Wilson. I think he's the guy that's ready to do it. I don't know if the quarterback there is ready to do it.
I have a bold prediction.
And,
about
and
that.
Drake, I mean, Drake London is obviously the guy that has the least amount of competition, I think, for targets. So
That's
I
not
think,
bold, though.
Yeah, I think he's easy.
Whoa. Don't tell his girlfriend.
Go ahead, Garrett.
Well, I didn't necessarily project who would be the number 1 receiver this year, but I did project which of these rookie receivers would have the highest ADP come this time next year because of his potential and how he performed.
It's Kyle Phillips.
It's
right?
Sky Moore.
It's Sky Moore. Sky Moore, very, very talented wide receiver. A lot of good comments out of camp in preseason. Lots of things you like to see. Beating guys off the line, which is something that we saw on film, that he was fantastic off the line.
So good.
Would beat press coverage easily. And when you look at the offense that could really elevate him, I mean, you're going to have a hard time finding a better offense than the Chiefs.
Right.
And it's a path completely open for that wide receiver 1. And their guy that's, probably going to be the top pass catcher on this team, actually almost guaranteed, Travis Kelce, is getting older and he's at the tight end position. So I think that when you talk about a good path plus a player that really could elevate, I think Sky Moore is that guy.
Damn it. If I go back in time, edit this out. Sky Moore will be the number 1 scoring Dynasty rookie wide receiver. What do you guys think of that hot take?
Sizzling.
Let me interject with my bold. You're
Updated
wrong.
bold prediction.
You're wrong, Rich. It's going to be Sky Moore. No, I love that take. And actually, I've been trying to I didn't have any Sky Moore shares for the season, but I just made a trade this past weekend. Superflex tight end premium. I gave up Adam Troutman and Cole Kmet and got Sky Moore.
Nice.
Yeah, very happy.
I like that take a lot. I do think Sky Moore is a guy that's going to emerge as the season goes on. And in that offense especially, there's a huge amount of potential, which brings me to my bold take.
Oh, man.
After Juju Smith-Schuster and Mecole Hardman fall flat and Marquez Valdez-Scantling drops too many balls, Justin Watson is going to emerge as the number 2 wide receiving option on the Kansas City Chiefs.
Wow, that is bold.
That is bold. It's so bold that I forgot Justin Watson was on the Chiefs.
Yes.
It's so bold. I would bet most people right now are checking their waiver wire, and I bet most of those people will find Justin Watson on the waiver wire.
They probably will.
Not if they play with me in their
That's
league.
right. That's right.
Wow.
Had a good
Explain
preseason.
yourself.
Matt, you did great this year.
He had a good preseason. Thank
These
you.
things were these were really bold
It
takes.
took me the better part of the day.
Although you did kind of blow your load in the first show, you have none for the
I'm
second
checking
show.
out. I'm actually going to go home. I'm totally
He
checking
got so
out.
excited that he had good ones. He just used them all up right away.
He's had a good report. Patrick Mahomes has had good things to say about him. 8 receptions, 107 yards and a touchdown, 13.4 yards per catch average. He's a big, tall guy. He's always been a size, speed freak, going back to his days in Tampa. And it's just, it's more about me not having a lot of faith in the guys ahead of him, and him kind of being a guy that it's always been on my radar in the back of my mind as a guy that, 6'3", 215 pounds, can run really well, and just never got a great opportunity there in Tampa Bay. And to have Patrick Mahomes, saying good things about you and him performing well in the preseason, it's an amazing offense. I just think he's a guy that could come out of the woodwork and kind of surprise some people.
That's extremely bold.
It is.
Yes.
It's so bold, I'm not even going to look at my waiver wire to see if Justin Watson's on there.
It's so bold, I don't believe you.
So bold, I don't believe you. I mean,
When my prediction comes right, it comes incorrect.
well, we're talking Chiefs. This
Yeah.
leads right into my
Right.
bold
Comes
prediction.
incorrect or comes
in
incorrect?
correctly,
Comma or
comma, space.
space?
Come on the kick drum.
Where are we at on time-wise, Jared?
46 minutes.
All right, we
we're
got
not doing
time
too
for a
bad.
couple more. Just about a couple more bold predictions here.
That is very bold though, Matt. That is a good one.
Check your waiver wire. See if it's on there.
I think what makes it so bold is there's like 5 things that have to happen for that to take place. It's not that I think Justin Watson's a bad player. It's just Juju has to fail, and Mecole Hardman, and MVS, and well, no, he said wide receiver 2. So I guess
For the Chiefs, yeah. It's
the
going to be
Chiefs.
Sky Moore and him
okay.
come the end of the year.
All right.
You forgot wide receiver 1, Travis Kelce.
Well, he's
tight end
one. Come on. I didn't say the number 2 passing option
Yeah, get hip to the
or
lingo.
pass catching option.
You
Jeez,
want to do this
come
language?
on.
You want to do this show in sign language?
Thought you'd call him a fullback.
Oh, I thought about it. Suffering fuckatash.
No, everybody's a tight end. You know that.
My bold prediction with a Chief is Clyde Edwards-Helaire will be a top 15 PPR running back this season. I'm also not a huge believer in this receiving core for Pat Mahomes. Yes, he will make these guys better. Yes, I love Sky Moore, but he's still a rookie from FCS school. So it's he's got to come. He's got to acclimate to the NFL. Which I think he will do, mostly in the second half of the season. I'm not a big believer in Juju Smith-Schuster whatsoever. I think Mecole Hardman is what he is. Nothing more special there at all. So I think they're going to have to rely on the ground game a little bit more. And more importantly, I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire will be way more involved in the passing game this year. I think he's going to see a massive jump in his receptions. I think he'll total this year more receptions collectively than he has his first couple years in the league already. I think this offense will need help. Obviously, Travis Kelce is the number 1 passing option. I think Travis Kelce will have 1 million yards this year. I think Travis Kelce has the potential to be a top fantasy football wide receiver there as well. But I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire will be in that Brian Westbrook role. We kind of talked about this in depth a little bit about Clyde Edwards-Helaire over the summer, and Matt gave some good stats about how Brian Westbrook wasn't used until his third season there with Andy Reid as well. So we know Andy Reid can scheme for the running back to be a big part in this offense. We saw Brian Westbrook catch 70 balls, 80 balls, 90 footballs there to be a running back 1 consistently for 3 years. So I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I almost want to say a running back 1, but I want to say top 15 because I could also see as the receivers acclimate with Pat Mahomes, as the offense opens up a little bit more the second half of the season, maybe it starts to take a little. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire has a chance to start the season hot, but then maybe even slow down just a little bit, not to a bad point, but still be a top 15 running back to be a league winner. And again, I think it's going to be mostly on the receptions that he does obtain. And I think he will do good enough on the ground game because if you remember back to his LSU days, he was a solid in between the tackles runner as well.
He would disappear.
But the number one thing we loved about Clyde coming out was his pass catching ability. He was the number 1 graded pass catcher running back coming out of this draft. And we've been very confused why he has not been used in that role yet. I think we do see that break this year. We saw Andy Reid say that he thought he was better off the tape than Brian Westbrook. So if that's the case, then you would expect him to be utilized in the pass game. I think Clyde finally makes me look better after that grandstand I made for him about being a rookie running back 1, which I was clearly wrong about. Apologies. Can't be right all the time. And I think this will be resetting the course, per se, of him actually becoming his ADP rising and actually making at least the hurt of taking him 1-1, if you did take him 1-1, less hard to swallow as he starts to become actually fantasy football running back that can help you win championships for the next couple of years.
I don't think this is too spicy, and I mean that in a good way, because I think that there's like some potential legs to it. It would be higher than I would be willing to rank him. I think I right now have him in my redraft rankings. I have to go back and look, but I think at like around 22 or so, 23. So I have him as like a low end RB2. But I do think that there's a path to where this happens. There is the opportunity. There is very viable. There's not a lot of other talented running backs on the roster. I know for a second we wanted to make Pacheco a thing.
And that's the thing too. I don't think Pacheco or Jones is a threat whatsoever. So it's
I
almost
think that's
like
what really helps him. Yep.
And I think that's what really helps propel him as well. Is like there's not a lot of competition. We see running backs like this all the time, like Mike Davis in Atlanta a couple of years ago. Right. No real challenges there to really like take him off. And his numbers statistically wide were all low, but he stayed healthy and he got all the carries and the receptions. And where did he finish? Running back 12 overall.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love this. We were talking about it, like you said, Rich. We talked about this earlier in the year. I do think this is the year where he takes a big leap in his pass catching role, and on the legs of that alone, I feel like he could be a guy that's bordering on the running back 15. So I love this take. I don't think it's even that bold in my opinion, because I think it's more likely to happen than not.
Let me interject with another bold.
Did you just inject yourself?
Yes, he just injected himself.
He'll be a running back 1 this year, Super Bowl. Sizzled up. Add some crushed red pepper like I do to everything I make in life.
Nice.
Which is I don't make anything. And then my wife makes in life. I throw some crushed red pepper on it to spice it up.
Love it, man.
That's it. Garrett, can you close us out this show? With
I can.
For this show. Because then we're going to the Nerd Show. And I've got a Cam Akers bold prediction.
Ooh.
And some good information to back it up. That is going to knock your socks not off.
Good, because I'm not wearing any.
What is it going to do to my socks?
Well, if you wiggle your toes, they'll move a little bit.
True statement.
Close us out, Garrett.
All right. Well, I'm gonna finish with this Chiefs trend that we've been having, and Travis Kelce wouldn't be bold to say that he's going to finish as tight end 1. He's done that 5 of the past 6 years,
right?
But it would be bold to say that he finishes as wide receiver 1 overall. So Travis Kelce, not only tight end 1 overall, but also wide receiver 1 overall.
The number 1, beating out Justin Jefferson in points.
Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams. Yes,
I thought about that bold take.
Did you?
I'm not gonna lie. I have a different tight end that I think is gonna finish as a top 12 fantasy football wide receiver in points. But I thought about making Travis Kelce the number 1 overall scorer.
Pass catcher.
He's only a couple years removed from almost leading the league in passing yards, receiving yards. Now with Tyreek Hill on the roster. So that is very bold.
It is very bold.
It's sizzly, and I love it.
Hey.
I don't even need to throw crushed red pepper on that.
Matt's not loving it, though. He's about to throw up.
It's hard. It's
He's
really
about to
hard to
puke.
do. But I think the touchdowns have an opportunity to be there, right?
For sure. The targets, absolutely.
The targets will absolutely be there as well. And he already shown that he was almost he led the league in like receiving like late in the year, too, a couple of years ago. It was we're talking about 2021, right? Or 2020? 2020. So like he was on his way to doing that already. Now as the number 1 option with nobody else really around him to really dominate those targets. I mean, yeah, I could see a clear path where he's like the number 1 overall receiving player. Do I think it happens? No, but it's a path.
That's why it's a bold take.
It is a bold take. And no, I don't think it's going to happen, but I love it. I love the idea of it. It's just not going to happen.
He said, that's a 10. That means you're being ridiculous. You can stop.
You can stop.
He would have to. I think the biggest thing would get there, because I do think he has the potential to score anywhere from 12 to 1,300 yards. Like
if his numbers went considerably up, he had about almost 1,200 yards last year, 130 something targets. the wide receiver 1 numbers would have to come significantly down, right?
Which we expect to happen
Sure.
because Cooper Kupp's numbers last year were bonkers.
But Devontae Adams were pretty good also.
His were very
1,500, you know what I mean?
And that's the thing. I think
catches.
that's what we would have to see. We would have to see probably in the range of like 115, 120 catches.
I think
1,500 yards and 12 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think even more than that.
1,800 yards combined for Deebo Samuel. So, I mean, these are the guys he's competing with. Justin Jefferson, 1,600 yards. I mean,
how many touchdowns did? Because I think there were only a couple guys that had over 10, right?
Not many.
Justin Jefferson had over 10. Deebo Samuel had 14 combined.
Okay. So yeah, he would have to have the 12 to 14
I think
range.
it needs to be in like the 15 range to be
tough.
the number one.
Devontae
He's gonna have to
Adams
score a
had-
touchdown.
I think
almost
where
every
he
game.
gets it is literally the touch. Like he'd have to score an exorbitant amount of touchdowns to be like, oh, I'm wide receiver 1, and people go, well, he scored a lot of touchdowns. I'm like, well, yeah, that's the whole point.
Devontae Adams had over 10.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp obviously had over 10.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp
16.
had
16.
tons of everything.
Yep.
All of them.
So there's with that
Jamar Chase had
offense,
13. So I mean, he's got a lot of hurdles, I think, to
Right.
get that.
I think the catches
overall
will help though,
Yeah.
because I think he could surpass most, if not all, those guys in catches, just because of the pure targets.
yeah, I mean, it's a volume game, definitely at his position. So it's a bold take. I like it. I think it's possible. I think there's a path. I give that definitely on a sizzle scale an 8.
It's a 9 on the sizzle. What is
burning.
it? Sliding sizzle grade?
Scale.
It's a
Sizzle scale. Thank you.
Sizzle scale.
My brain
range
wouldn't
I mean,
say scale.
Think about it.
Sizzle scale.
Could be a thermometer.
It could be a thermometer. Yeah.
The sizzle thermometer doesn't sound nearly as cool as sizzle
I
scale.
give it a 0 as far as if I think it's going to happen.
Oh, I give it a 3 out of 1 out of 10 of happening. I give it a 3.
Okay. All right.
I give it a
That wraps
0.
this up.
There's a path.
He said I give it 0 again.
We'll be
still
back.
zero.
We'll be back next week. Guess what
Sub-zero.
we're talking next week? Week 1 NFL fantasy football
Who the heck
receiving.
knows? Yeah, there's going to be so much action.
So here it is. It's not just exciting about Dynasty fantasy football being back, redraft getting back. It's just our favorite NFL teams are back as well. All our teams have the same record. We all have a path to the Super Bowl. If you're a big enough diehard, you could find that path to get your team to the Super Bowl. Trust me, I've done it for 42 years as a
Every
Browns fan.
single year you do.
We went 0-30. I'm like, there's a
So-
path for us next year to win the Super Bowl. This is what's got to happen. So it's
you're
great.
a Jets
It's
fan.
great. I want everybody to enjoy it. The games week in, week out. Every win matters when it comes to fantasy football. Every
Absolutely.
single win matters. Every point matters.
Joe
in your
Flacco's going to
lineup.
the Super Bowl.
Yeah, possibly.
He could take him again.
It all matters. And enjoy it because we're going to blink and the season's going to be over and we're going to be talking 2023 rookies before you even know it. So enjoy it.
I was
Can't
gonna
wait.
say that's
Enjoy
not a bad thing.
Enjoy the Thursday
No.
night game. Enjoy your Sunday night games. Enjoy your Monday night games. And enjoy the entire year. Remember, there's no off season, so enjoy all these games because it really is. What's funny part is it with Dynasty being 365 days a year, the actual NFL season is one of the smallest parts that we do of
It
the
is.
actual season
Especially the fantasy season.
for the fantasy season. And then every year,
regular season.
it's a little bit longer now because of the expanded season. Now we started playoffs usually around week 15, so we have a little bit more play. But still, you'll blink, it's over. Enjoy it, and of course, go Browns.
Adios.